All right, guys, we are back again for another episode of Spurs Up. I am your co-host, Deric Rush. Jack couldn't be here today, but we have our new co-producer sitting in his place, Laurence Thompson. Laurence, just kind of introduce yourself to the people for us.
Thank you, Deric. My name is Laurence Thompson. I'm a sports management minor and a broadcast journalism major here at the university. I'm a diehard Gamecock fan. I'm just ready to get to work and do more with Spurs Up.
Laurence is a great guy. He's a great co-producer, and I'm so glad to have him.
Thank you.
Really taking a lot of the load off of me and Jack, and we're looking forward to the rest of this season. We have some special guests for you guys. This is going to be a very good episode and a very great interview. So we'll see you guys in the next clip. All right, and welcome back. We are here with a very, very, very special guest, an alum of the University of South Carolina, senior accounting manager, David Jackson. David, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
So as a senior accounting manager, David, just kind of talk about that position and what all that entails a little bit for us.
Well, so for me, I'm the senior accounting manager for our athletics department. So my primary responsibility is to essentially audit all the revenue.
Right.
So pretty much we tend to, revenue is about 135 to 140 million, give or take a few, depending on what year it is. So as revenue comes in, essentially at the end of the year, but throughout the year, I audit all the financial statements. I help with getting the information that's needed to our external auditors, internal auditors, and pretty much also that leads to us preparing the NCAA AUP report at the end of the year.
Wow. So David's the money guy, obviously, as we know. And you are an alum as well. He's a graduate of the University of South Carolina and my fraternity brother, shameless plug there. But we're so glad to have him.
Just talk about your experience here at the university as a student.
Well, in relation to sports,
Yeah.
if anyone remembers the infamous fall 1998 season, that is when we won the first game versus Ball State.
What a game that was.
my freshman year, and I was very excited, and then we lost the next 10 games after that. So we finished the season 1-10, and then my sophomore year, Lou Holtz came aboard, and then after that we literally lost every game that year. So that was the 1-21 stretch that a lot of people tend to refer to. So in terms of athletics, my freshman and sophomore year wasn't, that enjoyable from, a sports standpoint. We still showed up, went to the games, but there were some trying times, but Coach Holtz got everything turned around, and then we went on to win 2 Outback Bowls, and the rest is history after that.
That first season was no reflection on Coach Lou Holtz as a coach. Obviously, he did a lot of good for the university, but everybody has a rough start. And speaking kind of on the accounting position that you are in, what are some of the accounts that the university has been able to land since you've been an accounting manager for us? Well,
one of the things that I don't necessarily go out and solicit the accounts. We have senior athletic directors and some people in development who do that.
Okay.
But one of the things that I do is once we do get those contracts or do make those partnerships, I kind of audit and review a lot of the financial details. So one of the bigger ones that we currently went into partnership with is Aramark, and they're over all the concessions. So essentially, at the end of each month, I get with Aramark and we kind of review the different revenues that were received from football, basketball games, any sporting events any sporting events or non-sporting events that are at the Colonial Life Arena. And we kind of review and see what commissions are due to athletics, and I kind of ensure that we get that revenue in.
All right. So how often do you come into contact with players, with coaches, and with Ray Tanner, the athletics director, and kind of like direct contact with them?
Well, in terms of Coach Tanner, it's hard to call him AD Tanner because he's been
done so much with the baseball.
He's been Coach
team,
Tanner for so long, and he embraces everyone calling him Coach around the building.
Yeah.
But so for me, you have Coach Tanner, then you have his senior staff, and on his senior staff is the guy who I directly report to, Jeff Talent, who's CFO. So it's essentially, Coach Tanner asks Jeff Talent for some numbers. Whenever there's some projects that he kind of has in play or some different thoughts or ideas that he puts out there, and Jeff will immediately shoot me a text message or email and say, hey, what's the revenue looking like for football? What's the revenue currently looking like for men's basketball, or even with the NCAA tournament that we just had back in March? We collected some of that revenue on the front end. NCAA collected some from the ticket sales that they made, but it's always constant dialogue. Hey, what does the revenue look like? What does the revenue look like? So it's kind of one of those things. In terms of student athletes, very minimal contact in terms of day-to-day, but I see them all the times in the building, the Rice Athletic Center. So I'm on the 3rd floor, business office, event management, compliance, and the athletic director suite is up there as well. So I see a lot of them come in typically from day-to-day when they're either going to compliance or they may be meeting with someone else. But also, if I'm downstairs in the Gamecock Club from time to time or ticket office, I'll see some of them down there. But we also have several student athletes who are interns in athletics as well.
You kind of spoke on the March Madness. I want you to speak from your perspective. How was that experience of having just that, us hosting March Madness more so than anything else? That's probably one of the first times in my lifetime that I've seen March Madness this close to the area. So what was that like for you?
Well, of course, you have everyone calling and asking about tickets, of course. So that's one thing, but it was a phenomenal experience. I mean, as one thing that people have always said, you don't know what you're getting into until you actually get into it. But after just the initial build-up was there, and literally, I want to say within the first week or two of the initial tickets going on sale, I think again, NCAA ticket sales, I think for March Madness are in the $4.5–5 million range, something like that, just for our location.
Wow.
But with that being said, within the first week or two, first week or two, I want to say ticket sales were maybe $1 million.
I can only imagine how big of a boost that was for the economy around the area.
Bingo. Yeah. So with that being said, that build up initially jump started, and it was like, okay, this is going to be huge. And then just in the days and weeks coming up to it, because you have your people who, once they start seeing the March Madness banners and everything go up around the stadium and up around the university, they get interested.
Right.
So then more ticket sales, but just the interactions with everyone, it was a pretty phenomenal experience.
I like to say, what was you talked about March Madness, what was kind of the biggest or maybe your favorite event to cover, kind of work with, maybe a sport that you like doing the most?
Well, and for me, I don't work with any sports. I essentially audit all the revenue from all the sports. But what I will say, some of the more memorable events that I've experienced since I've been at the university was the SEC championship game.
Right.
So just the excitement for, this is the first time that we're going to be in the SEC championship game. And even though it didn't, turn out the way we wanted. But again, the excitement was there, fan support was there, the experience was great. That, propelled us to go those, next 3, 11-2 seasons. That, along with, I want to say, the year that the men and women both made it to the Final Four with the women winning the championship, those were some great experiences as well. And also just the 3-year run that we had with baseball. You get to see the fan experience, but you also get to just look at the revenue side of things, and you see the money and just the ebbs and flows of just the excitement from the average fan.
So we got a little more time here. We talked football a little bit off camera, and David is a great person to talk football with. Just kind of speaking on Gamecock football specifically, what have you noticed from your time being a student here and going to the games and experiencing Gamecock football from a fan perspective as it pertains to the players? Has there been a change for you as far as how the game has changed since you've been watching in college, or do you feel like there's the level of competition is better? Do you feel like maybe it's not the same as it was in the old days? Like, just talk about that a little bit.
Well, I'll say this. Of course, the evolution of sports, athletes get bigger, stronger, faster. One thing that we have provided in athletics is we're always trying to provide state-of-the-art equipment, state-of-the-art training for those athletes, which makes the game a lot faster, makes the game a lot better. We're investing more in coaches and everything like that, so you see a better product out on the field. So with that being said, it's been great because you actually get to see the investment that you're making in the student athletes, and and not just football, but just all sports. You get to see the investment that you're making in the student athletes, and you get to see the success and how much that is a rewarding experience for athletics and for the students themselves.
Well, David, I'll tell you what, that's all the time we have for today, but I appreciate you coming. We had a great conversation, and until next time, Carolina, Spurs up.
Spurs up.